right, welcome everyone to the EVM61 podcast. I'm your host, Ivan Loha from ETC Core. And on this podcast series, we talk about Ethereum classic news and anything related to ETC, the Ethereum stack, and general blockchain. I'm here with a very special guest from the Ethereum classic ecosystem. His name is Christian Xu. He is the Asia Community Manager for Ethereum Classic and has, I would say he's one of our OG community managers in Asia and a great member of the Immutable Fortress, the Emerald City, where the grass is always greener. And, you know, uh, Christian, please introduce yourself and thank you for joining me on this podcast.
Hello, Steve, and hello, everyone. Okay, I will introduce myself first. Um, I have 10 years of software development and testing experience, and my projects before were financial system and ITO systems. Both of them are very large-scale server and client system, which is very different from blockchain projects. I knew Bitcoin in the year of 2012, but to be honest, at that time, I just thought Bitcoin is like tulip game because of the media misleading in China at that moment. I had an opportunity to join crypto area in 2015. In the end of 2015, I joined an Bitcoin exchange, BTCC. And after joining BTCC, I learned more about Bitcoin's technology, algorithm, and consensus. And Bobby and Samson are in BTCC that moment. They are both Bitcoin maximalists. So I left the BTCC in 2017, and after that, I did a lot of research in blockchain area, especially technically. In 2018, I joined Ethereum Classic community and devote myself on Asia. I built a WeChat community in China with more than 50,000 members till now. And I helped build Korean and Vietnamese community. Up till now, overall, there are about 100,000 members in the whole Asia community. I also held and joined a lot of online, offline crypto and blockchain events and built relationship with other blockchain projects. And I also built relationship with the developers. I contact them. I contact the Asian developers to some core developers. Okay, I think that's all of my introduction.
And to echo your contribution to ETC, I think a lot of people don't realize is when you got involved several years ago, a lot of things that gotten translated was a lot of because of your effort and and spreading, because there's a lot of things that happen on the west side, and there's a lot of things that happen on the east side, and you've helped, like when we had announcements, like I know even on our core team or even a few years ago, like a lot of the effort in translating things and getting things out to those Asian communities. I just want a lot of people to know that Christian, that's been a big contribution to that Christian has provided to the ETC ecosystem. And I just wanted to let people know that. And you have experience in crypto and everything too, and it's awesome that you moved to ETC. Would you say, and of course you worked with, I'm sure, a lot of Bitcoin and Bitcoin maximalist type of people. Um, what do you think makes ETC, like, I'm sure a lot of us in ETC appreciate Bitcoin, but what's the reasons to appreciate and the desire, or what's the value that you personally see in Ethereum Classic?
Yeah. So at first, of course, before joining the crypto area, I'm also only knew Bitcoin. And I think the main idea of Bitcoin is very great. That's immutability uh, and decentralization. And later, I know Ethereum Classic. And I think Ethereum Classic is more exciting because Ethereum Classic has a new mechanism that's called smart contract. With smart contract, people can do more things on blockchain. And besides, Ethereum Classic is also with the consensus of immutability and decentralization. And I just want to say Ethereum Classic is psychologically as Bitcoin, and technically Ethereum Classic is just as Ethereum. That's very great. That's very exciting to me.
And that's a great point, because I feel like that's like kind of the sentiment building around ETC, and people are waking up to, because Ethereum Classic started from very small when the DAO fork happened, but now, like, when the vision, as Ethereum Classic has grown and matured, it seems like people who appreciate BTC, when Ethereum was created, it was made to extend Bitcoin's capabilities, and Ethereum Classic is pretty much doing that with a very sound monetary policy. Of course, Ethereum is our cousin chain. We're compatible with them. Everyone could get along, but we kind of want. It seems like Ethereum Classic and the ecosystem's pursuing this, maintain those Bitcoin values, but like you said, has that Ethereum experience. Or I like to say it's Bitcoin wants to be digital gold. Ethereum Classic is programmable digital gold.
Yes, yes.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
as I just said, I joined the BTCC in 2015,
Mm-hmm.
and Bobby Sampson, they educate me a lot of Bitcoin's consensus, and I'm very happy that Ethereum Classic has the same consensus with Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very important to a crypto, to a blockchain asset.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess that kind of moves to the next thing I'd um, love to know more of your insight on is, can you tell us about the Ethereum Classic community in Asia? And like what are the thoughts that they share about Ethereum Classic, and what's their interest, and what are they excited about? Did they share similar views?
Okay. I think Ethereum Classic has a very big user base in Asia, especially in China. I just heard that at the beginning, I mean, in 2017, in the mid of 2017, there are many miners, crypto miners, supported Ethereum Classic. So up till now in Asia, we have a very big group of Ethereum Classic fans. To be honest, it's the fans base in Asia is something different from the Western. Most of the Asia fans are traders. They care the crypto price, and they care the news and the information about Ethereum Classic. and in Asia, some developers love ETC as well. There are three kind of developers' interests. The first kind, they have some business ideas, but they don't know how to build technology, how to build on blockchain. So I will contact them with some blockchain developers and help them. The second kind of devs, they are traditional developers, which I mean they are building some traditional software uh, in server client mode, but they don't know how to build a decentralized system like blockchain. The third kind of developers, like they are EOS developers or Tron developers, they want to know more about Ethereum Classic. All of these, I will contact them with our core developers to help them build their apps or build their ideas on Ethereum Classic blockchain. And as mentioned, there are many miners in China. They care mostly about the mining algorithm. And their biggest concern recently is the 4G deck size. And they also care about the news and the prices of Ethereum Classic crypto token. So I think in China, people like Ethereum Classic also because of its strong consensus and its strong technology.
Yes, I think Asia or China, like because I remember I remember I traveled to Shanghai for some ETC meetups,
Yeah,
and I was surprised everyone that I talked to. Well, first of all, I was surprised how big the community was. Like we'll have our meetups, on the west side, and I went to the east side, and literally the meetup. I think there was like 3 meetups that I went to, and literally it was like a full house each time, completely filled. Major exchanges, some of the biggest miner names in China or Asia were there too. I'm like, oh wow, like the community is pretty big here,
yeah,
and everyone seemed to love proof of work. It seemed like everyone was more of a proof of work. I don't know, maybe like everyone, I'm sure, has their own diverse from a portfolio perspective. People that are diversified, but people seemed like proof of work maximalists more. Like everyone resonated proof of work and believed in proof of work, and
yeah.
and a lot of that is because it's parallel. Ethereum Classic, the consensus is parallel to Bitcoin in a sense.
Mhm.
And yeah, and I remember you spoke. I remember we met at some of these meetups, and everyone knew Christian too. Everyone knows
Thank you.
Christian. Everyone knows Christian in the crypto Asia communities. It's really interesting. But like and you're sharing the love of Ethereum Classic in a positive light, and I was really honored to travel to Shanghai and meet you and see the community there.
Yeah, you are very welcome.
Yeah, I had a great time. Everyone was very welcoming, and I was surprised. Like people, people don't know, and I guess you could say it. People like me, a lot of people don't know how much crypto and blockchain stuff's going on in China. And when I was there, I'm like besides Ethereum Classic, I was like, wow, there's a lot of people doing crypto related stuff here. It's a very lively community, and the fact that
Yeah,
the Ethereum
yeah,
Classic meetups were totally packed with like
yeah.
companies
Now,
and everything is great.
Yes, now blockchain and crypto is I want to say is an emerging industry in China, especially in Shanghai, Beijing, and Shenzhen. These cities are most wonderful.
That's true. And I guess, Shanghai is what, like the finance city. And would you say that would you say those cities are equally as excited about crypto in general, or because I don't know if Shanghai is maybe more excited because it's like the finance. Um, there's a lot of finance that happens in Shanghai.
Yeah, I think Shanghai is most exciting because it's a combination with uh, technology and financial ideas. So I think it's a very great combination for crypto, for blockchain.
And it's something else I notice is because I know in the West, like we still use our plastic cards to make transactions, and and in general, I see so many people interested in crypto and packing these Ethereum Classic meetups, and I guess you could say that China, as far as transactions, it's mostly digital. You guys are already using QR codes
Yeah.
and stuff. I feel like, would you say it's an easier onboarding experience for Asia users or for people in Asia to onboard to crypto because they're used to QR codes and like using more hyper digital I guess finance technology?
Yes, yes, correct. In Asia, especially in China, now I think just the certain people still use cash to uh, shopping, to do their shopping. They use either Alipay or Tencent Pay to shopping. So I think digital economy is quite popular in China.
I can imagine one day, one of these popular apps, even in the West, one day these apps are going to add a crypto wallet. I hope they'll be amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool.
Yeah, very
Well,
cool.
Christian, we are reaching time. I really thank you for coming on here. And I know people in the West have always wanted to hear more about what you have to say. And having met you too, you're working hard for Ethereum Classic with like a big passion every day. And I think I'd like to thank you for your contributions for the years, popularizing Ethereum Classic and providing that Ethereum Classic education in the Asia community, connecting with different countries in Asia, building communities there. People should, you know, the community appreciates that, and keep doing what you're doing. And welcome, and thank you for coming on this podcast and sharing those views. And hope to have you again on the podcast sometime
Okay.
soon.
Thank you, Steph. And I'm very glad to be here. And I will continue to uh, devote on Ethereum Classic. If you have anything if you have anything related in Asia community, please feel free to let me know. I'm very glad to help.
Yeah, absolutely. And we could provide some details if you want to get in touch with Christian in the description where this podcast is posted. And as for our listeners, thank you for joining us, and we hope you all have a wonderful day and stay safe out there.
Thank you. Same to you.